Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a Minecraft spider. So it's going to be a series of these. So far we've done a creeper. Don't know what I'm going to do next. So let's just get started. So just delete this and we'll start with a head. So in the create geometry, choose box, and just make a box, change the size afterwards, and then you can go to modify panel if you want. Go to the parameters, and the length, width, and height is 25. So I believe that is slightly bigger than a human's head. Well, Minecraft human's head. So pretty much after you've done that, right click, convert to editable poly. Don't have to do that, but you know, you might want to edit it afterwards to add something. So after you've done that, in the modify panel, go to modify list and go to unwrap UVW. And before we go into this, when you go into material editor, so press M, and I'll leave in the description the spider skin and also its template. So all you need to do is find another material slot and go into the diffuse and choose bitmap, unless it's not responding for some stupid reason, and then just locate where you've got the template and skin. So after you've done that, I've loaded the template. You load the skin. I just load the template because I need both. You'll need both as well, but you can get the template at a later stage. So with the skin selected and with the cube selected, assign material to selection should be the third icon right beside the red X in the material editor. And just in case anyone asks in the comments why is mine looking very different from this, because you got 2012 or 13, because you go to modes and change to compact material editor. You're probably using slate material editor. So just assign that. Maybe you'll need to click show shaded material in viewport, which is the fourth one from the right. So just click that. And after you've done that, as you can see, the skin isn't properly on it. So in the selection, choose polygon, so flat square, and in select by, turn off in ignore back facing. We don't want that one. And open the UV editor. Now select all the squares, so make sure this ignore back facing is off, because if you don't, you're only going to get what you can see in front, so you only get these 3 squares. You want them all. So with them all, go to mapping at the top in the edit UV editor and flatten mapping and press OK. So now each face has its own little square, and if you go to this little drop down box with the skin assigned, you can change it to that. So you could match it up like this, but you may want a template. Now for some reason this template is off slightly by about 1 or 2 pixels, so it's better to use the template as a reference and not just use the template only to guide you, because it will be nearly perfect, but just one little line onto just another bit, like onto this black, which will be white when you render it, will make it look a bit weird on the corners, edges. So go to pick texture if you haven't got your template, if you haven't watched the other one, and under standard go to bitmap, which my mouse isn't working. and just select the spider template, which you should see a download link in the description if you need that. So as you can see, it's got all the bits. So we're doing the head first, so just follow these. So just so pretty much the front, you just select the front face from in the viewport, and it will highlight it in the UV editor, and just put that in the front, like it says, front face there. I'm going to do mine really quickly, so I'm not going to really be precise, but you definitely should. Now the problem is with the skin template being slightly off, it means putting it onto this edge may not necessarily mean it's on the edge of the other one, as you can see there, slightly off. So it's better to use the template as a reference to know where that face is supposed to go, but not the actual, take it for granted. Sometimes I believe the creeper one was spot on, so I don't know why. So yeah, just do all that. I'm gonna use the skin template because I'm not really in a rush. Well, I am in a rush, but so just line those up. Quite simple. Top head. And this is pretty much what we have to do for all the others. So just make sure they're right. You may want to look up some pictures of spiders, Minecraft spiders, to help you make sure that the texture is the right way. The side ones and all that should be the correct way already, but you never know, the top one and bottom one might be slightly wrong way round. All you have to do is then rotate them 180 degrees, if they are. I'm not 100% sure they are though. And I don't think it really matters much. So just match them up perfectly, not like me, because I'm just rushing. Then you've got that. And another thing you should do is get used to, if you want to make sure it's perfect and not completely screwed up, is you should in the render setup, because everyone always asks this question, oh my textures are blurry when I go and render it. So if you're using the default scanline renderer, just go to renderer, and under anti-aliasing you've got filter maps. Make sure that is off. If that is on, which at default it is, it means it will blur it. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's on. Render it. Oh. Okay, it won't do it. It won't be blurry because I've made the texture really high res, but you should keep that off anyway in case you have a lower res version, or you have other lower res versions of something in the scene. So make sure that's off. Don't need that on. It just blurs the textures. So yeah, if you render it and you notice any white marks, you should definitely fix those. So after you've done that, we'll go on to the neck or torso, or whatever you would call it. So go back to create, geometry, box, create a box, and this one is 25, 20, and 20. So length 25, and width and height 20. And you use the line tool, so just line tool with the object selected and line it up there. I choose current object center. See, and just do that. This makes it a bit easier. And just do that. It's pretty much the same as before. Convert to editable poly. Unwrap UVW. Open UV editor. Select them all. Make sure ignore back facing is off. Mapping, flatten mapping, press OK. Default settings should be alright. Make sure you change the skin, or if you haven't selected the skin, choose one. Which we didn't. So as we didn't, because I forgot to mention it before we added that, you need to, if my mouse would stop being really slow, go find your spider texture, which if it's the only thing you've added should be right at the bottom of the sample slots. Add and diffuse color map number 1 or something, or spider.png if you use the one I sent. So after you've done that, just like you did before, but instead it should be the one up in the corner of the thorax. So same as usual, just now these ones you may have to rotate. I'm not 100% sure. Just search Google really quickly, find a picture of a spider, and if it is, simply rotate the texture. It shouldn't be too big of an issue. So if that's the difference here. It's very simple, just pretty much matching up the boxes with the ones you got on the I'm not going to match them perfectly. You should if you want to make it really perfect. So bottom, front, and that should pretty much be it. I think these top ones probably need rotated, but I can't remember 100%. But all it does is quick Google search. After we've done that, I've made sure by rendering it that there's no white marks on the corners or edges or anything, then you're ready to get on with the next bit. So the next bit is the, whatever you call it, back bit. So again, create geometry box, create a box, and it's 35, 30 and 20. So length 35, width is 30, and height is 25. And then pretty much just have to connect it, because it should be simple as that. You may think the neck slightly too much, the thorax is too much. You can always move this box closer if you really want to, but these two are probably not going to be moving. The head will, but these won't. So as usual, you can convert it to, oh wait, yeah, go to material editor, assign the material first before you do anything else. Convert it to another poly, modifier list, UV map, and do the same with this. I don't think I'll show it this time because it's pretty much the same thing. All I'm doing is telling you the same thing over and over again. So just, flatten mapping and change it to the spider one or the template, and it's the one at the very bottom, abdomen. So good, just do that and you'll have a nice back. Now before we go on to the legs, let's quickly convert these objects after you finish skinning them and you're pretty much 100% sure that it's correct. You don't need to change anything. Just select them all with control, or just select each one individually and go to right click and convert to editable poly. This just makes it easier because sometimes the UV editor, the UV map unwrap modifier sometimes takes a while to load, so yeah. But don't worry, if you need to change the skin again, just re-add the modifier list unwrap UV and it will still remember what you did last time. This just makes it easier and less crowded. So before we go onto the legs again, go into left view or by pressing L or something, and we're going to just move the pivot. So in the hierarchy tab, which is the third one over, under adjust pivot, effect pivot only, and center to object, under alignment center to object, and then we're going to just eye it to the very corner of this. You may want to press F3 to go into wireframe. Just match it up as closely as you can. And after you're done with that, just press the effect pivot only again. And now, pretty much it rotates on that pivot there, which you want. You want them to go. You may want to move the neck in a bit more so that it doesn't have that thing down there. It's up to you. You could always have it like that. So, yeah, that's that bit done. So now onto the legs. So create another box, any box, and the legs are 5, 5, 35, so 5 length 5, and width 5, and height 35. And then you're going to want to go to the select and rotate with angle snap toggle on, and just rotate that 90 degrees, and you're going to want to move it over and just eye it where you think it should go on there. Now we're not going to copy straight away. What we're going to do first is we're going to actually do the UV mapping first, because why would you want to copy something without the UV mapping and then have to do 8 legs of the same UV mapping? So I need common sense to do it first. So convert it to poly, so right click, convert edit poly, modify list, unwrap UVW, polygon, ignore back facing, open UV editor, or I've done it again, you should select material first, and just unwrap again, sure that's off, polygon face, open UV editor, and as usual select them all, mapping, flat mapping, and this time it's in the very top corner. So yeah, let's just see it from the perspective from the right. You know, the front is that the bottom bit, the top is the side. So wait, no, it isn't. I've changed it. So yeah, okay, the front would be this side, and right would be this side. So the stump at the very end is L, left. So and top of course is top and bottom. So pretty much that's all you have to do. Simply move them over. You may have to rotate it. None of us are 100% sure. No, from what I can see, you don't have to. So yeah, it's pretty much just match those over, and after you're 100% sure, convert it to a poly. So right click, convert to editable poly. Make sure the pivot is the one at top, so when you rotated it, make sure that's the very top. So after you've done that, what you're going to want to do is, let's rotate this minus 35 rotation. Yeah, this is more of what you would want to do, so it's up to you. So with minus 35, you're going to want to hold down shift and rotate it again 70 degrees, and then again 25 possibly. It's more about eyeing it up yourself. That looks about right. So after you've done all that, just select them all, and right, yeah. So select each one, and with the rotate tool, change it to local instead of view, and make sure snap toggle's on, and then you're going to want to lower it. Now this is more of what preference you'd want. You might want to go for a slightly more steeper angles. It's up to you, but I'm gonna go for about 35 degrees. So just do that for each one. You're probably gonna want to edit the angle that they're at, which if you want to do, just put it back to view and then just rotate it like that. So yeah, you probably will want to. I'm gonna rotate this just another 5 degrees. They're supposed to all be like that at the very top. It's actually what it looks like in game. They just do a very good job hiding it. You're normally running away from them. So after you've done that, that's pretty much it for that. I did try and use a constraint thing. I tried using a lookout constraint, which worked. It looked very well, but it didn't work if you wanted to turn the spider sideways, so he was going up or down a wall, which I found out, which kind of destroyed that. So I've looked into other ways. I couldn't figure out of using constraints for it, so it's more of just basically going from this. But before we do that, let's quickly go to create. Before we copy these over to the other side, go to create, geometry, and create a torus. Just create a torus. It's up to you what size it is. It shouldn't be too big. So I'm going to put mine about that. And use the align tool if you want. I'm going to. So just click align on any. Change it to pivot point. On one of the legs, any of them. And rotate that torus 90 degrees with the snap toggle on. And what you're going to want to do is I'm going to leave it there. So what you're going to want to do is select all your legs. So hold down control, all 4 of them, and with the select and link tool, which is in the very top corner underneath the green icon, just click that and drag it to the torus. And then with the torus, select it and drag it to the neck thingy. So this means you can rotate that if you want, and if I was to rotate this, that would rotate with it, which is good. So yeah, these can rotate individually themselves, which I found is the best way to do it. So yeah, you could use the link. You could always use the other version of it, of the link constraint tool, by going to the assign controller, transform position, select that, and this little tick box assign controller. Use that, and then you got link constraint. I'm not gonna click that, but doing it that way, it means you could animate where it's linked to. So you may want, if you decided for some reason you wanted to cut one of the spider's legs off, that's how you'd want to do it. But yeah, it's up to you. You could do that if you want. Probably a good idea to do it. So after you've done that, before you copy all these legs over to the other side, you're going to want to select your torus. And it doesn't matter what color it is, because no one's going to see it other than in the viewport. So select it and right click and go to object properties, and under rendering control, untick renderable. This means when it renders, you won't be able to see it. So that's pretty much it. So that's just, here's another tip. By double clicking any object that is linked to another object, it will select every object that's linked to it. So as the torus is linked to all 4 of those legs, you can just double click the torus and you will select all of them. So just have them all selected and just shift click and just move it all the way over to the other side, and press copy, make sure it's not instance, and then select the torus and rotate that in view to 180 degrees, and just move that into place. And that is pretty much it. So just make sure it's perfect. So you may want to move them over. You can do that easily. Just over. Make sure they're exactly, yep, alright. So you definitely gotta want to name all this stuff. What I'd recommend is I'd select the two, this bit and this bit, go to group at the very top and group them. Call it anything like spider back or anything like that. Just do that. Should still follow. Also, don't forget to use the select and link tool to link the head to the back. You may want to use link constraint the other way I showed you, or I haven't showed you, as that way you'll be able to cut the spider's head off. So you're probably going to want to do that. So that's pretty much it. You could also, if you want, you don't have to do this. You could always select the spider legs and group those as well if you want. So spider right legs, which means the only thing that's going to move is the torso, or you can select all of them like an object, but you may want to do more animating to that and just have each one individually move, which if you want you can still keep them organized together as a group by just going from group with the object selected and clicking open instead of ungroup, which means it's open so you can select individually each one, but you can go back to group with one of the objects inside that group selected and click close, which means you can keep them all organized, which is pretty good. So that's pretty much it. You could always add a look at constraint for the spider if you want, which I guess I could show you now because I kind of skipped quite a lot of the UV. So you know, you can always just create a torus. I haven't actually tested this, so this could completely go wrong. So just make a torus 90 degrees. You may want to align it to the head and just move that forward, and with the head selected, the spider head, go to animation, constraints, look at constraint, and choose the torus. Now as you can see, it's gone all weird. Oh no, that's not good. Now it should automatically take you to this screen, which if it doesn't, it should be under motion. Go to keep initial offset, which means it will go back to where it was before. So this should mean it should now follow the torus, which you may want. It might make it easier for you to do certain things for animating. Now you just follow this. I didn't use it before, but there you go. So you might want to do this with all your other mobs if you want. You don't have to. Again, object properties. So right click, object properties, renderable, turn that off, so no one will see these objects. So if I render it quickly, you'll see them, except for my terrible UV mapping job I did. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. The only problem with doing it this way is he can't rotate his head, but I don't believe he can rotate. You should have his rotating his head 180 degrees for some reason. But there you go. So that's pretty much how to do a spider. I don't know what my next tutorial will be. Probably another mob. Not sure which one yet. So I hope you like this. So thank you for watching. If you got a comment, leave it in the description. Not description, comments below. If I'm able to help you, I'll reply and try and help you. If you didn't like this video, dislike it. If you liked the video, like it, share it, possibly. Watch all my other videos, subscribe. So thank you for watching.